Hey everybody. This video is obviously about a NiteCore TM26 Tiny Monster, but this is the limited edition. I guess I should make that known up front. The difference between the limited edition and the regular model is that this Tiny Monster throws out 3,800 lumens of light instead of 3,500, and you will know it from the standard model by its white OLED display instead of a blue OLED display. Now I'm taking this with my iPhone 5, so the image quality isn't going to be good enough to read what the OLED says, I don't believe, but it should be good enough to pick up the light in any course. So here we go. NiteCore TM26. This is the head of the unit. Gold displays on, or gold plating on the contacts. There's where a good chunk of the weight is. There's stainless steel inserts on the rings to help prevent damage, hold down the lens or whatever. Lots of heat sinks cut into it. All the electronics, the OLED, everything, the camera style 2-stage button with the half press and the full clicks, which I love. Then you see they'll rattle around in there because obviously the CR123s aren't as fat as an 18650, so there's room for both. I'll see if I can give you a look down inside the tube here. Well, since that isn't working, I'll use one of the other lights I have handy. This holds 8 CR123s or 4 18650s. It will run off of just 2 CR123s in an emergency or 1 18650, but they recommend that you don't do it long term because the heat sinking or something, the way it affects the light or the discharge of the battery, it should only be done in emergency circumstances. But it will do it if you need it and you're low on batteries. What I like about this is I have 4 18650s on the way. There's a NiteCore popping up telling me the battery voltage, and it'll run through a saying it's on standby, 5.60 volts, and it'll run through a little series. But on this side, you have a tripod mount, and you also have a charging port, which means that you can charge your rechargeable batteries in the light. You don't need a separate charger unless you plan on going through lots of stuff and you need extras on standby, but they can be charged in the light, which I like. You have this OLED display and your 2-stage switch here. A half press, just a very light touch, bring it on to the 3 lumen mode. Show me the battery, over 555 hours left, 24 degrees Celsius, that's the light temperature. It supposedly shuts down at 62, I believe, might be 60. I had it up to 58 today. We'll make it another video that I'm just going to erase. And this thing was smoking hot, man, I tell you, it was insane. But the light just kept on pumping. Supposedly when it gets to that certain threshold, it will start stepping down in light, and I did notice it stepped down to 1850 volts, or lumens instead of 3800. But if I go through the motion here, these batteries are almost dead because I've been using the light for a week now. It pumps me up to 150 volt lumens. Let's see if I can shield it so you guys can see it. So 150 lumens, level 2. Press it again, 5.46 volts. Show me the battery's about half, and I have more than 11 hours at that setting. 25 degrees Celsius, so that's 150. Another half press takes me up to 600, 5.14, about half, 36 minutes at that setting. Pump it up to 1850, thing's smoking my hand right here. 4.25, it shows the battery's being depleted a little quicker. More than 9 minutes left. So not a lot left on these batteries. Another half press takes me back to my 3 lumen mode. This has a memory feature, so to prove that, we'll go to the 150, and I'll shut it off, which is a full click down and back up. Another half click to come back on, and I come back on at my 150. I cycle through to 3, and that's where I normally keep it. If it's on, and you press fully and hold it down, that flash was lockout. Now if I hit either button, it just says lockout, and the button doesn't have its LED blue ring blinking in the background. You're using no energy from the batteries. To get out of lockout, it's very simple. Just press and hold, and it would come back on at whatever output you had it on of the ones I've already shown you. So to turn it off, now you can access the high power, which is just you can do momentary, press all the way down and hold. So instead of a half click to go into 3 lumens, you just press and hold, and you're right at 3800. You let off and it goes away. If you want it to stay on, you just click it quick. You're at 3800, and it's insane. I can't even film. And a half press takes it down to 1850. And let me see, another half press back to 3800, and here it's telling me 3.32 volts. Battery is almost dead. A little more than 8 minutes left. 30 degrees Celsius. Temperature's going up because this thing is smoking hot. Well, smoking my hand hot. The light's actually cool at the moment. And just to click off. Now, if you turn it on to the full power, 1850, and you do 2 clicks, you go right into strobe. Half click takes you to SOS. And another half click could take you to beacon. There's no memory for these. Whenever you do the full click, it comes back on 3800. And a full click is off. Half clicks back to low power. I can turn that off full click, and you can always go right to high. So it's very intuitive after you've used it for just a few moments. While it's going, the light will blink at a certain pace. It starts blinking quicker like it is now to let me know the batteries are pretty much getting depleted here. But as usual, I will turn it on into 3, and I'll lock it out. That way I'm not using any juice, just for that little light, which is minimal, of course. But that way the kids aren't easily blinding themselves with 3800 lumens. This thing is a monster spotlight. Even with the 4 LEDs, which all look to be perfectly centered, it doesn't make a funky beam. From 5 feet away all the way out to as far as I can throw the beam, which from where I'm at, we're just going to be conservative. We're going to say like 250 yards. I can see light pretty well with this. It's lighting up a field anyways. I'm not going to be reading colors or telling you how many fingers you're holding up. Obviously, I can't see that far anyways. But as far as my eyes are useful, this thing turns it into daylight when it's on. It throws one solid beam. It has a beautiful spill. It's very useful, and it still has a nice hot spot in the middle. It's not a McGizmo Haiku or Makai with their perfect beams, but this thing really isn't far behind. It's just a beautiful beam pattern. It doesn't make any funny stuff or any weird nonsense. There's no artifacts. It's just, production perfect. I thought the thing was going to be a lot larger when I was looking at pictures. I've been looking at the thing for 9 months, and then I ended up getting a great deal at this at Going Gear for their Cyber Monday. Free shipping, a big discount, the limited edition, more lumens, just fantastic. They threw in some batteries and stuff too. But to be fair to the light, I want to give you guys a size comparison to other lights that might be more common to you. I have a pile of them that I found in the room here. I have a lot more. I have a problem, is what I have. But I found a lot more lights, so I want to give you a size comparison for the Tiny Monster. And, sorry, very scientific here. If you look at the Surefire, this is like a 6P or a G2. This is a G2, but it's the same size as a 6P or a Defender, like the one next to it. If you look at those in comparison, lengthwise, there's not a lot of difference between that and the Tiny Monster. Now, it's obviously fatter, and if you look at it, people might be wondering how they stack those 8 of them in there. Compared to a 2-cell light, it is fatter, but it's still not as, I can get them both in my hand still. It's not as fat as a soda can or pop can. It's comfortable to carry, comes with a nice holster, and on low, that you're not getting the true run times from my batteries being down, but on low, it's more than 1,000 hours with that 3 lumens. And this thing's a good lantern. It's a little heavy and a little bulky, but if you're to take it camping, it'll last a long, long time on low power. There's an LX2 LumaMax, and the LX2 is almost the same length. Obviously thinner. There's the E1B backups. There's a pair of them next to it. It's not as large a light. Those are single cell lights. It's only a third larger. Here's a Sunwayman. What is this? The V10R, S10R. It's not a humongous light, the Tiny Monster. This is an M11R, Mr. Elfin, Sunwayman. Yeah, it's bigger, but it's not monstrous considering it has 8 batteries to it and the size. Now, here, my McGizmo Haiku, a lot of you guys might know those. If I had a 2-cell McGizmo, it'd probably be very similar in length. Obviously, lighter with titanium and thinner, but this thing is not unwieldy at all. A lot of guys on my channel are knife guys, knife and gun guys, so what I'll do is I'll throw up one of my favorite acquisitions here. Here's a Chris Reeve Menundi in comparison to the Tiny Monster. This is a pretty small knife in my opinion. Look at that. I give you an idea how big that Tiny Monster is, throwing out 3,800 lumens. StarTac. Right? There you go. The light is not near as big as it looks in pictures, but it throws out a lot more light than you think it would. At 3,800 lumens, you always go, oh yeah, 10,000 candle power, man. You know, you buy those lights, you plug into your 12 volt when you're growing up like I did, and you find out that 1,000,000 candle power it's just a 60 watt light bulb is what it's equivalent to. They didn't perform. This thing's 3,800 lumens is ridiculous. Ridiculous. It performs. So if you guys are looking at the Tiny Monster, you're wondering, is it worth the money? I mean, if you got the money to spend and you've been looking at one, there's not a lot more lights I don't think you can get that are brighter. I've seen a few like the oh, I can't even think of the name right now, that Ultra Throw. They're bigger lights though. This thing's small, it's compact, you can charge your batteries in it. It comes with a decent case to carry around, doesn't need a shoulder strap like those other ones do. It performs, it's durable. Check out the other YouTube vids by those guys. They're kicking them down the street, breaking ice with them, leaving them in the creek for a while. I mean, in the snow, whatever you would never do to a light, and the thing keeps on ticking. Now, I've seen that there's Chinese versions of the thing out there that are supposedly a lot less money, and it's supposed to be the same light. I can't speak to that. I really don't know. I haven't tried one. Maybe I'll pick one up as a spare to this one and see how I like it, if it seems equivalent. But the NiteCore version, this thing is ridiculous, and the fit and finish is on par with any Surefire that I have. And honestly, as a production run, it seems to have fit and finish very similar to my beloved McGizmo, which is my favorite light of all time. I can't fault them anywhere. Can't fault them anywhere. I have cheaper lights like the M11R and the, what is that, S10, S10R. They're great lights by Sunway. I'm not just spending big money to spend big money, but this thing is worth every penny in my personal opinion. If you guys are shopping big lights, you want big power, small package, I don't think it gets better than that right now. NiteCore may come out with something better in a day or 6 months or a year, I don't know. But right now, I think this is pretty much the king of small lights and lots of power. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and everybody take care, stay safe, and thank you to the new subs.